Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. We are now on episode 10, our final episode of this program on taboo subjects. And we're going to talk about online abuse, and in particular the worrying problem of anti-Islamic Islamophobia and the abuse that is becoming prevalent online. So I'd like to talk about that a little bit today, and I have some notes here about it with comments from people that have suffered online abuse. And one thing that seems apparent is there are spikes in internet abuse around Islam when there are trigger events such as the terrorist attacks in Tunisia, in Paris, the murder of the British Army soldier Lee Rigby in Woolwich. These have all helped to fuel the growth of anti-Muslim hostility on social media, as well as in the streets of Britain. And according to the charity Tell Mama, in 2015 there's been a significant spike in anti-Muslim attacks, ranging from online threats to incitement and harassment to actual physical attacks and arson in public. So what also hasn't helped are things like the Rotherham child sexual exploitation scandal in the UK, which was carried out by Pakistani men in particular. The activities of ISIS, which are on our TV screens every single day, and things like the murder of British aid worker David Haines in September 2014. These have all gone to perpetuate anti-Muslim sentiments and legitimise anti-Muslim attacks both online and elsewhere. And it's been evidenced that in particular this is against Muslim women. I think possibly because we are more visible wearing hijab. But these attacks on the social media sites such as Facebook, Twitter and Instagram have been reported. And within this context, Muslim women are also deemed to be part of the Islamic problem. I mean, we saw last summer the issue in France, where it started in France, around women wearing the burkini. So they are on the beach, they go swimming, and they're just wearing covering with a head covering. And these images are describing Muslim women as a national security threat. I mean, women wearing niqab, we're a national security threat. I know for myself, when I travel, before I wore hijab, I never, ever, ever in all these years have had any problems going through passport control, going through, the security. And yet every time since wearing hijab, I seem to be having difficulties. It's kind of interesting. So, for example, there is a lady who uses Facebook mainly, and she was consistently getting abuse from people contacting her via Facebook. So she has had to put restrictions on her settings so that only her friends and her chosen safer contacts can actually contact her. And she has said that people would message her and try to start arguments, and say that we as Muslims are all a bunch of terrorists. We've been brainwashed to convert to Islam. I mean, for converts, you know, we are particularly at risk of abuse, and not just from strangers, actually, sadly to say, quite often from friends and family as well, who are angry and threatened by the change in clothing and the change of religion. There is a feeling, I think, through the press and the media that Islam is trying to take over the world, that we as Muslims are such a huge threat to peace and stability in this world, and as such that makes us victims of attack through social media. I mean, one thing I feel, you know, there's a huge amount of anonymity through Facebook. People can attack you without you knowing where it's come from. And this is something that people have reported, is this fear that they don't know who it is that is saying these things. They may not necessarily know who is sending them these messages, who actually knows of their existence. You know, are they being watched? People start to become a little bit paranoid that that people could actually come and find them physically, and people are getting threats on through social media that they know who we are, they know where we live, they know all about us. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, these are very frightening threats that people make, and they're directed at us purely because we are Muslim, for no other reason. And they're directed at us because of the negative image that is portrayed around the world about Muslims and about Islam. And unfortunately, any kind of balancing of this topic does not seem to be allowed in the world media. And it's not enough just to say, oh, Islam is the religion of peace. That's not enough. We need to be able to talk about how we live our lives. We need to explain to brothers and sisters around the world how close Islam is to Christianity and to Judaism, and that we are an extension of that. I know that we all actually have to be very careful about our use of social media, not just Muslims, but all of us, because of the risk, especially to our children, of cyberbullying and of grooming, of paedophilia on the internet. But one thing I feel is that we need to be talking a lot more about it in our communities, and we need to be supporting each other, because a lot of the events that are going on, the bullying and the abuse, are on our children's phones, or on our phones, or on our laptops, or on our iPads. And in a way, you're alone with these communications. So I think it's important that we actually come together as a community, and we talk about it more, and we support each other more, and we think about what can we do to promote our religion and to show people what Islam is really about. Okay, so we've come to the end of episode 10. I hope you've enjoyed the content of these episodes, and I hope that you come forward and are willing to tell us how you feel and what you think and what your experiences are on these topics of taboo. Thank you very much.